Ms. Hyvarinen, thank you again for the honor of coming to the Institute for Cultural Diplomacy and for the excellent lecture you gave. We'd like to ask you just a few follow-up questions to go a little deeper into some of the issues. Environmental interests will often criticize environmental regulation as inadequately protective of the environment. Furthermore, strong environmental laws do not guarantee strong enforcement. What are the biggest challenges of current international environmental law?
Those are really good questions, and I certainly think that one of the big challenges relates to enforcement and compliance, and to states simply implementing what they have agreed to do. That is a huge problem. But I would actually say that the biggest problem in international environmental law is really keeping up with, it's for international environmental law to develop and evolve quickly enough to actually keep up with the scale of the environmental problems that we are facing right now. For example, climate change, which is completely unprecedented. So no one has experience from the past of how to make an international legally binding treaty on climate change and to make it work. Now we've got some experience of a couple of decades with the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change, but with climate change and with other similar issues, I would really say that the biggest challenge is for international environmental law to evolve and to develop so that it steps up to the scale of the global environmental challenges.
Okay, and which forms of environmental activism do you consider to have the most potential in raising awareness within the broader public? And with the recent economic crisis, how do you make public and the private sector acknowledge the importance of sustainable development?
I think the most effective form of environmental activism probably, it depends a bit on the circumstances. Some things will work in some situations, some other situations require other responses. I'm very interested in the whole idea of cultural diplomacy, which I'm not very familiar with from before, and I think there are a lot of opportunities there for integrating environmental considerations. I would say that most often arguments will probably be heard and work if they offer solutions or ways forward, if there's something to be gained from actually taking environmental action. So that would be, I think, a very good starting point for environmental activism, to point out why something good will come out of it for the people who are being urged to act.
Thank you. And last question on cultural diplomacy. Environmental issues and culture both form a platform to connect people from different backgrounds based on a common interest. Can you list any positive examples of bridging the conflicts or differences via these means?
It's difficult to think to immediately think of a good example, but I would certainly say that the negotiations within the United Nations on environmental issues provide examples of and opportunities where people from very different cultures and with very different starting points do come together and agree on joint ways forward. And I think that there are many opportunities where people really realize that it's better to cooperate and collaborate than to not do it.